Thank you for joining us tonight at 10. I'm Cecil Hannibal. Organizers calling today's demonstrations No Kings protest, rejecting what they call authoritarianism by the Trump administration. Rallies happening across our area today. KCRA 3's Peyton Headley joins us live from the state capitol. Now, Peyton, we saw crowds gathered there today. What did you hear from these protesters?
Yeah, well, we spoke to a lot of people at these protests today. A lot of people said they came out largely because of recent immigration raids, some of which happened here in Sacramento. All across our region, thousands gathered on Saturday participating in No Kings protests and largely criticizing the Trump administration, from immigration policies to the military parade in D.C.
I came out here because I think what's happening is horrible in this country, and I think we all need to stand up, because if we don't, it's just going to keep happening.
In Auburn, people surrounded the Placer County Courthouse, lining the steps and nearby sidewalks.
People are starting to realize what's going on, and they're standing up for their rights, which is the American way.
We're here to speak up for those who can't, those who are scared, our Hispanic community that can't come out because they're vulnerable.
More than 1,000 people gathered outside of the Galleria in Roseville.
This is what democracy looks like.
There, they chanted and held signs sharing their calls for change.
I've been terrified by what I've been seeing around me.
I've never seen anything like this in this country.
Livecopter 3 flew over a protest in Folsom. People were seen lining East Bidwell Street and the Highway 50 overpass, where they held American flags and hung a sign reading, "No King."
No King! No King!
And in Sacramento, crowds covered the grounds outside the west steps of the state capitol.
The whole ICE situation and how he's attacking California, all of those things are just really upsetting to me, and it's making me lose sleep.
We're fighting for kindness and we're fighting for fairness here today.
Some even took to the streets, marching across Tower Bridge. These rallies making up only a few of the nearly 2,000 locations across the country demonstrating against the Trump administration. And the protests that we were at today were peaceful. We did speak to some protesters that said there were some cars driving by with Trump flags while they were out there, but no issues that we heard of. Live outside the state capitol, Peyton Headley, KCRA 3 News.
And no issues is good news. Peyton, thank you. A viewer also sending in this video of a protest in Grass Valley. You can see people out there on the sidewalks holding signs and waving flags. Our viewer Jessica sent us this video. In San Francisco, thousands of protesters gathered for a march to Civic Center. Sarah Magru shares the sights and sounds of No Kings Day in the Bay Area.
I'm in Dolores Park, where San Francisco's No Kings Day March is about to start. Hundreds of people had started to gather around 11 a.m., including Rebecca Foster, dressed in Handmaid's Tale attire.
I think that resistance has power, and the people have power, and despite the violence and the constant threats that we're under, that I think that we have a chance to actually make a difference.
When the march started around noon, thousands flooded down Dolores Street towards Market Street. As protesters make their way to Civic Center, there's been lots of chants in both English and Spanish, a lot of signs, of course, along that No Kings theme. One that I've been seeing a lot of is Yes, Queen, No Kings. There's tons, thousands of people out here in San Francisco. If you take a look, we're walking down Market Street right now.
I mean, the reason I'm out here is because community means so much to me.
In addition to showing opposition to President Donald Trump, many spoke out against the ICE raids we've seen in California and across the country.
It means your fight is my fight. I'm born and raised here, but a child of an immigrant, and I'm here to support everyone else who's going through a really hard time seeing this.
Thousands of protesters ending their march here at San Francisco's City Hall. Overall, this protest, very peaceful. People I talked to really focused on that community aspect, that they were here to support their neighbors, to support their community. Reporting in San Francisco, Sarah Magru, KCRA 3 News.
Sarah, thank you. And there was a shooting at a No Kings protest in downtown Salt Lake City today. Police in a social media post said officers were trying to verify details and figure out if there was a victim. An estimated 10,000 people were marching at the time of that gunfire. One person of interest was reported to be in custody. A protest escalating in Portland tonight. Police declaring a protest outside of an ICE facility a riot. Initially, officers on the scene called the protest an unlawful assembly, ordering the crowd to disperse. Well, that changed only minutes later when police declared the gathering a riot near that ICE building. The order was for demonstrators to disperse immediately or else be subject to arrest and other crowd control measures. I want to show you this now. This is a live look in Los Angeles where you can see large crowds out there for their No Kings protest. It looks like someone, maybe they're kicking some type of ball over that car right now. But yeah, you can see people standing on cars, large crowds out there. What we've learned so far from the LA Police Department, they said that this was a largely peaceful protest today, but small groups of protesters began assaulting officers by throwing commercial-grade fireworks, rocks, and bottles. This has prompted the LAPD to issue a dispersal order. Of course, we know there's also a curfew in effect because there have been dual protests, the No Kings protest, but also the protests in response to the Trump administration's immigration policies and ICE raids in Los Angeles. So yeah, the city of Los Angeles right now is dealing with 2 sets of protests over the last several days. And right now it is, 10:07, and there are still large groups of people out there. But again, I want to mention that what's been reported is that a majority of these protests have been peaceful. LAPD says a small group of people have escalated things. But again, most things in Los Angeles have been peaceful. But this is what we're seeing. Yeah, sirens blaring as police deployed tear gas. I want to show you this video from earlier today. This was in response to those protesters in downtown Los Angeles when things did escalate. So police were dispersing smoke, tear gas, and so this is what we were seeing. All you saw that smoke over there, that is tear gas being deployed during that protest earlier today when things did escalate in Los Angeles. In parts of downtown LA, a curfew remains in place through the weekend. It went into effect earlier in the week over ongoing protests, again, over immigration raids. You can find more coverage of today's protests on our KCRA3 YouTube page. Just scan a QR code right on your screen to subscribe. There you can find a playlist to stay up to date on the latest developments. You can also find exclusive aerial video of today's protests across Northern California captured by Live Copter 3.